From the banks of the Allegheny, welcome to Film Bits. As Marvin Gaye once sang, let's get it on. Marty, Rust, on the heels of Reggie LeDoux. Let's go.
We were just about to turn back, call in parish, state, whoever. I mean, we had the location. We had our suspects identified at the location, you know. Might as well just leave the shit be and hand it off. But that ain't what happened. As soon as we started to back off, man, bam!
Bullets cut through.
You guys see any of that stuff happening? Do you see anything happening on screen that resembles what they are talking about? No, you don't. Because what we're seeing now, if you don't understand, is this is the cover story. Something's going to go down here that requires a story that they had to craft. And that's what we are getting a look at right here. So we're going to do these cuts back and forth in the past, get pieces of the cover story, but we're also going to get the truth. Pick it back up.
Right near Rush Head, we dove opposite ways into the high growth, but they'd already spotted. So
I love that Marty's still in that t-shirt from the last episode. It just looks so off. Devil net?
Between us, I mean, it was on.
Heavy shit. Like ferns and whatnot bursting all around us, bark flying off of trees. I mean, we were in a fucking shitstorm.
Some weird green light there for, I don't know what that was from. There it is again. Oh no, that's the outside trees. Just dinge and grime and I guess everything you think of when you think of a drug dealer's house or drug dealing factory, whatever you want to call it, drug making factory. And that was Reggie LeDoux. Nice noose tattoo. All the white supremacist tattoos as well. Interesting diegetic sound going on. Non-diegetic. The Black Stars, says Reggie.
State police, put your hands on your head. Put them on your head now. Don't even think about it. Put your hands on your head right now. Intertwine your fingers. Do it. Back up toward me. Down on your knees.
Now we get a cut to a more formal investigation that needs to hear the story. So that was actually within the time, obviously, or shortly after this event happened, whatever goes down here. Like that camera hiding. It's almost like hiding, watching.
They'd spotted us before we crossed the forest, so all we could do was duck for cover, dig in, try getting closer. It was chaos.
Why the antlers? Freeze, motherfucker. Put it down. Hands up. State police. Set it down.
know what happens next. I saw you in my dream. You're in Carcosa now. With me. He sees you.
Honey!
You'll do this again. Time is a flat circle.
I said, Nietzsche, shut the fuck up. Put it down.
Sinks
Honey!
to twin
There you go.
black star.
Put your hands on your head.
Wow. How about that? All right, so whatever the heck Marty saw made him so upset that he just went out and in cold blood killed Ledoux. Good cops don't do that, do they? Marty was just, or Russ was just like, what is going on? But notice that he doesn't lose it. He does not panic. He's just trying to assess the situation. He knows he's got a second perp there. That guy goes on the run, so immediately he goes to get him, and their own little self-defense booby trap system works against them as he panics and runs through his own trap. There was also that stuff that Reggie was saying with the Carcosa. Time is a flat circle. Black stars. Rust shouts back at him, shut up, Nietzsche. Nietzsche, of course, being a famous German philosopher. So some depth of stuff going on there. He did not have any knowledgeable tattoos that we can connect to Carcosa or the Yellow King. It was all white Aryan stuff, or he had a 666. Nothing on his pentagram, nothing on his body that was connected that we could tell from images we'd seen before that we can connect to the Yellow King or Carcosa. But he did say Rust was in Carcosa with him and that he saw it in a dream. And then remember, the other guy, the guy who just blew up, he was the one in the bar that said, you're a poison. He said a couple really interesting things that seemed almost supernatural. Let's pick it back up.
While I was hunkered down behind this old decrepit boat, Captain America, Marty Hart, decides he's going to run deep into the woods, flank around the back of the house where Ledoux's firing at us, right? Well, he sneaks up behind Ledoux, and just as Ledoux turns, bam, popped one off in him. Headshot, clean, dropped him. And his buddy, D-Wall, he made a run for it. Then his homemade cracker-ass security system took care of the rest.
Notice how Marty Hart is made the hero in this. Russ doesn't need the accolade. Russ doesn't need the attention. What they needed was a story in a hurry. So Russ probably concocted all of that and put Marty as the hero, because then that takes attention off of Rust, who's already making enemies in the force, and Marty is kind of the guy they all like. And Rust is smart, man. He knows that psychology even within the workplace. Marty does something big that is seen as worthy. He is going to get a lot of accolades, and he's going to get a lot less pushback on things, which means as long as Rust is his partner, Rust is going to get a lot less pushback on things. Let's pick it back up.
Fuck. Get the cuffs off him before his blood settles. We gotta make this look right.
And I like how there's no judgment. No judgment by Rust. Just, we need to do this. Let's handle it. And he even pats him on the back like, let's go. Get the cuffs off him before the blood settles. Oh, Rust knows his stuff, baby. And that's what made Marty freak out. We know that Marty has, we saw it with the prostitute who was underage. We know Marty's weak spot is kids.
we do, Russ?
2 of them kept captive right there.
Good to see you commit to something. I'm gonna go see to the kids and don't bring them out until I say so.
Good to see you commit to something. That's a great line. Russ doesn't even care. Russ has occupied the gray for a lot of his police career after he screwed up.
That's when we found the 2 children. I mean, we got very lucky. We just as easily could have been chewed to pieces by that AK on approach. I can say that I walked away from the experience with a greater respect for the sanctity of human life. Yeah.
Now we know that is just straight up BS, right? But here's the one of the biggest differences between Russ and Marty, in my opinion. Marty is all emotion and in the moment. He's very leap before you look, right? Very the word's slipping me. Hopefully I'll get to it. Rust is big picture. Rust is the guy who can plan things out 4 and 5 moves ahead. Rust knows when they find the girl in Erath that this is something bigger. While everyone else is trying to say, oh, Satanism, and Marty's willing to hand the case off to the task force, Rust is digging in. He can see it. The reason he doesn't judge Marty at the killing is because he knew the guy was a scumbag anyway, and now let's just make this look right. This isn't done, right? This isn't done. They have to still prove that Ledoux is the killer and go through all those hoops and everything, but they've got to make the scene look good enough that they can be questioned and not be held as, a cop who just killed someone in cold blood, which is what Marty did. That would never be Rust unless there was means and necessity. Marty reacts off of emotion. Rust has his emotions completely in check unless he's on the booze, and he is not going to make that same kind of decision. And he applauds Marty for it. Glad to see you finally commit to something. He doesn't commit to his wife. He doesn't commit to the other girl he was sleeping on with his wife. He doesn't really commit to his job because he's getting drunk, going out all night. He's kind of wishy-washy, floating. Rust is pulling him through this case. Just a lot of good stuff there. All right, let's pick it back up. By the way, Rust is a nihilist. If you didn't know, he just thinks there's emptiness and nothingness. He's stressed this a few times. I love the irony, and he's in a suit, right? So this is a double costume. He's wearing the costume of the suit, which we don't usually see him wear, at least not the jacket. We see him in a tie and shirt, but we've only seen him in a jacket a couple times. Talking to this panel of police higher-ups who in Texas let him out to fry for 4 years undercover. That's a length of time he should never have been out that long, but because he had screwed up, they knew they could do with him what they wanted. And he's telling them what they want to hear. Yes, he grew to understand the sanctity of life or have a new importance and understanding of it, etc., etc. As BS as the story they're telling to cover their asses.
I believe I speak for the board when I commend you on the heroism displayed by you and Detective Hart.
We were doing our job, sir.
So that is a dead child that Rust is carrying.
There were the...
And the child Marty's carrying is alive.
And the LSD on hand matched that of Door Lane. Everybody was pretty satisfied that we got our man.
And we wrap it up by coming back to the same shot, only it's a little lower because we don't see the plant in the background.
Been missing since January. He'd been dead less than a day.
Just the tops of the stacks. I love this shot too. Slow-mo,
Girl, she hadn't been
almost
up
has a
40
Western vibe to it.
She was from St. Landry. Catatonic when we found her. Why should I live in history, huh? Doc, I don't want to know anything anymore. This is a world where nothing is solved. Well, someone once told me time is a flat circle. Everything we've ever done or will do, we're gonna do over and over and over again. And that little boy and that little girl, they're gonna be in that room.
Man, I just love the way McConaughey delivers that. I also love that Rust, a guy once told me, this isn't a guy, this is some guy you thought was a crackpot drug dealer, but he said something that resonated with Rust. So think about that. So the whole reason Ledoux says this is because it corresponds to whatever this whole Carcosa thing is, and these kind of weird off-the-wall philosophies that are motivating these murders. Russ liked it so much that he bought it because he's saying it again to the cops, and he can see it. He can see this thing like being happening again and again and again, like we are in this endless loop. Remember, Russ says humanity is just doomed for failure. We should all commit suicide, but we don't have the guts to do it, myself included. And this is kind of the loop of humanity that Marty is seeing. You know, you go back through history. What do you see? Wars, death, famine, poverty. Technology improves. Does the human condition improve? Maybe in some places. But there are nations rich enough to help the poor. Do they? No. So there's this cycle that that Russ sees playing out in life that really, really resonates. Time is a flat circle. At least that's what I take from it. All right. Oh, and I know I've said this a few times already, but it really is only just beginning. We're only 20 minutes into this episode. Episode 5 and 6 are the sweet spot, baby. 5 and 6 are the mess. So until next time, hey, thank you for all the time you've given me. Tell a friend. Heck, I'll ask you to do that. I'm sure many of you already have. A lot of you are posting on my benefit. I really appreciate that. But it's getting very, very good. All right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this one. Until the next time, where it's going to get good and dark in a different way. This is good and dark one way. We're going to get good and dark in a different way next time. Bye-bye.